developments from the Middle East. We're now learning that Yemen's Houthi rebels appear to have halted their attacks on Israel and the Red Sea shipping lane at large. Now, analysts see this as an indirect acknowledgement linked to the US-brokered ceasefire in Gaza. The Houthis had launched dozens of strikes on commercial vessels since late 2023, claiming solidarity with Palestinians. But in a recently published letter to Hamas's Qassam brigades, the group had stated that it had stopped operations, warning that attacks would resume if Israel renewed its offensive on Gaza. Their maritime campaign had sunk 4 ships and killed at least 9 sailors, severely disrupting trade through the Suez Canal, which is a vital corridor for global shipping. Meanwhile, the Houthis have detained dozens of UN staff in Sana'a, accusing them without evidence of espionage linked to Israel's strikes that have killed Yemen's prime minister. Still with us on the broadcast is Ms. Alison Mutler. What do you think now are the implications of the Houthis stopping their attacks and how would it impact the global supply chains?
Well, I think it's very important. Again, it's part of this broad ceasefire moving towards a peace deal in the region. And the Houthis were attacking not just Israeli ships, I think any country they thought was aligned or allied with Israel, Zionist Israel as they call it. So the fact that they are not doing that anymore is an important step for the ceasefire to hold and a move towards a more permanent peace deal. But it's also very important, as you said, it's a very important trade route, and it's important that the ships can sail down this very important passage, and therefore this will, is a sign of greater security in the region that there won't be attacks. So it can only be good for commerce, and it can only be a step forward in ensuring there is a lasting peace solution in the area.
Indeed, and what I've also touched upon is the fact that there have been several UN officials who've now been detained by the Houthis. They're now being held. Their offices were also ransacked by the Houthis numerous times. How do you think this should be handled? They've been accused of spying for Israel. We've of course seen the UN come out and make several statements, but what sort of action should be taken to rescue the UN workers, the aid workers? And I also wanted to understand, if this continues, how could this then impact humanitarian aid efforts for people in Yemen itself? We do know there's a dire humanitarian crisis. There are millions of people who are suffering through a famine.
Yeah, it's a dire situation. It's a terrible situation. It's just vigilante justice. It's just them plucking people off and saying that you spy for Israel, you're an ally of Israel, and that there's no evidence whatsoever. And so this needs to be resolved. I imagine, they've already made a step they say they're not bombing or they're not attacking these ships anymore. There must be pressure put on them, and it won't be necessarily pressure in front of the TV cameras. It'll be pressure put on them behind the scenes, because they also need supplies. They also have interests. But the situation, if there is to be a greater peace, cannot continue, and it's not it's like a terrorist war. But I can't see them coming up and making statements. I can see pressure be put on them from their allies behind the scenes, because it's not a situation that's tenable. It's not a rule of law situation in the slightest.
All right, ma'am. With that, I'd like to thank you for taking out time, sharing your analysis with us on NewsX World. On that note, we're shifting focus away from the Middle East towards Southeast Asia. We're now learning that Cambodia and Thailand have traded accusations of fresh clashes along their border following Bangkok's decision to pause a US-backed peace deal. Now, the peace pact was brokered after 5 days of summer hostilities that killed 43 people and displaced around 300,000. This was suspended by Thailand. The Thai government had also cited a landmine blast that wounded 4 soldiers as the reason. Now, Cambodian Information Minister Neth Phakatra has accused Thai soldiers of opening fire on civilians in Praichan village in Bante, Meanchey province, wounding at least 5 people. However, Thailand's Royal Army has stated that its troops did not return fire after hearing small arms fire from the Cambodian side, and has described the incident as a provocation. Now, tensions remain high as both countries are trading blame over this latest border incident. Joining us on the broadcast is Kim Phi, Director General of IRIC from Phnom Penh in Cambodia. Thank you so much for taking our time and speaking to us on NewsX World. As I mentioned earlier, Thailand has stated that it will be suspending the peace pact with Cambodia that was brokered by the United States. Does this then risk spiraling out of control from here? Because we're seeing both countries now trading blame, but with the suspension of the fragile peace agreement that was reached earlier on the sidelines of the ASEAN summit, could this risk, in fact, leading to a situation which was witnessed back in July?
Yes, thank you very much for having me in this very important situation right now. At the time being, Thai is still launching attack to the Cambodian civilian at the Prichan village, Ochro communes, Bante Nguyên Chais of Cambodia. The accident was happens not because of Cambodia, it's because of Thais. They just try to put blame on Cambodia, but it is not about the threat of blame. It is Thai who violate the ceasefire as well as the peace deal brokered by the United States of America. And yesterday, their soldier just presumably stepped on the mine, and they try to accuse Cambodia for planting new mine, but of course not. Cambodia is a war-torn country, and there are a lot of landmines left over by the civil war. If Thai soldiers did not cross the border inside into the Cambodian territory, I think that they would not step on the mine. If they step on the mine in their territory, it means that their mine planted by them and just step on by them. So they just put the blame to Cambodia to make the pretext to suspend or to stop the ceasefire as well as the peace deal that brokered by the U.S.
Indeed, considering the fact that this peace deal was brokered by the US, Donald Trump was there when it was being signed as well. How do you think Thailand announcing the suspension would have gone down with Washington? What sort of reaction can we expect from the United States?
At this moment, I'm not sure how will the United States reacted to this announcement of suspensions. But to Cambodia, we are committed to the ceasefire, to the peace agreement that it's the only way that we can find the lasting peace for neighboring country. We cannot use war, use forces to achieve peace, to demarcate our border, because the two countries are neighboring countries that we cannot move our country away from each other. So that's why Cambodia has consistently highly valued the ceasefires and the peace agreement. And I strongly hope that the U.S. will do something so that the two countries will abide by the peace deal that is initiated by the U.S. as well as facilitated by Malaysia as an ASEAN chair. If Thailand suspend this peace deal, it means that they not only violate the ceasefire between Cambodia, but this is also something related to the United States, to the ASEAN as a whole. So in order to maintain the international law and rule-based order, it is strongly urged Thailand to faithfully and fully implement the ceasefire as well as the peace agreement with Cambodia.
Indeed, last time when we saw hostilities take place and tensions simmering, there were evacuations that are taking place. How is the Cambodian government now assessing the current situation? Are we likely to see similar such measures to protect civilians?
The Cambodian government position at the moment, we try to keep restraint from any retaliations in kind. So we try to call on Thai side to respect the ceasefire and the peace agreement. And we also call upon the international community to monitor the implementations of the ceasefire and peace agreements. And we are also committed to peace, committed to diplomatic solution. We take peace over war. We place international law over the law of the jungle.
Indeed, and speaking of international law, what sort of mechanisms sort of exist under the international law as well as the ASEAN Charter to address these sort of disputes?
So far, the Cambodian government has tried to address the conflicts through the diplomatic mechanism as well as through the international law, so that we bring the case to ASEAN, to the UN Security Councils, and as well as to the ICJ. So I think there is still a room for ASEAN to mediate the conflict, and I think that ICJ should fasten the cases that brought to it by the Cambodian government, because if they do not take serious measure, I think the conflicts, the war, gonna be more serious, and the consequences, the casualties, would be very, very risky for the Cambodian people.
All right, so with that, I'd like to thank you for taking out time and sharing your perspective and analysis with us on NewsX World. On that note, viewers, we are shifting focus to what's taking place in Georgia. We're learning that Georgian Interior Minister Gela Galades has now visited the crash site earlier in the Singhagi municipality of Georgia's Kakheti district. Speaking to reporters, he's confirmed that 18 bodies have been recovered from the site so far, while 2 still remain missing. Listen in.
Azerbaijānis ტერიტორიიდან აფრინდა თურქეთის სამხედრო თვითმფრინავი, რომელმაც საქართველოს საზღვარი გადმოკვეთა და დაახლოებით 5 კილომეტრში განიცადა კატასტროფა. ბორტზე იმყოფებოდა 20 ადამიანი, ეკიპაჟის წევრი, სამწუხაროდ 18 მათგანი ნაპოვნია და გარდაცვლილია, 2 ადამიანის სამძებრო სამუშაოები გრძელდება.
Additionally, the Turkish Defense Ministry has released a formal list of their 20 soldiers killed in the incident. The C-130 military cargo plane had taken off from Azerbaijan for Turkey before crashing in Georgia yesterday. Both Turkish and Georgian authorities have commenced their inspections at the site. Initial footage received from the area showed ambulances, fire trucks and military vehicles surrounding the burned aircraft body as search and rescue teams scanned the grounds. Some reports have also noted that Turkey's C-130 fleet is aging, although the aircraft is generally reliable. Meanwhile, inspections and investigations continue to determine the cause of the crash. In more news, a 16-year-old boy has tragically lost his life following a scooter crash in Tourcoing in northern France after allegedly refusing to stop for municipal police. The incident occurred when the teenager lost control of his scooter and struck a post. Local residents reported hearing a loud bang, initially mistaking it for a car hitting the curb. Authorities quickly responded to the scene where 2 young individuals were found, one injured but conscious and the other lying unconscious and in a critical condition. Despite immediate medical attention, the teenager later succumbed to his injuries. Listen in to what a local resident had to say.
Ce qui s'est passé, a priori, moi j'étais dans mon bureau, donc j'ai entendu un gros coup et en fait le scooter a tapé là, sur le plot. Quand on est sorti, il y avait des voitures qui arrivaient en face. Donc je pense que le jeune homme a voulu éviter les voitures arrivant en face. Et dans la panique, il est monté sur le trottoir et ça a tapé. Ça a été fatal pour eux, pour lui.
Well, viewers.